All right, folks, well, welcome to Hunting the Rut Hotline. I'm Don Bell, and folks, tonight we're going to talk about questions that you want to talk about. First of all, you notice we got an empty seat tonight. Old Big Steve is feeling a little under the weather. It's springtime, weather's changing, people starting to get not to feel good. And old Steve decided he'd go ahead and get his turn in tonight. Big Steve, we hope you get to feeling better if you're up to watching the show tonight. Folks, it is Thursday night, and it is March the 12th. And we started last week talking about bucks and shedding the velvet, you know, and dropping the antlers, and we're going to touch base back on that tonight because we started it on the first segment last week, and man, we got hammered with calls, and so we didn't get to finish that. So we want to kind of chronologically do this each week. We're fixing to start this show. Sit back, relax. Hey, get on the phone, call your friends, and tell them, hey, you need to tune into this because this show's all about you, what the questions you have, and I want you to notice something as we get started tonight. Notice each week all the people that are calling in, and notice they're calling in from all over the country. And that's what makes this show unique, because you get to get the perspective of people like you, hunters, who have questions about whitetail, and we all have questions about a whitetail, and we get to hear it all together, and we share that together here and try to find a common answer to a common problem. And we're going to do that right in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Estrus, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 0.1% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 0.1% club.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. We want to get started tonight, first of all, by talking about shed hunting. And everybody likes to do that, and it's more productive in certain parts of the year, certain times of the year, in certain parts of the country for various reasons. And we want to kind of touch on that in this first segment tonight. First of all, shed hunting is a springtime process. It's a great hobby, but it does more than just hobby. We all like to see those antlers coming down through the woods. You're sitting up in that tree stand, but it's quite another thing after season just to be able to get out and relax. And you go boys up there in the Midwest and Northeast, walk through the snow and see those old tines sticking up through the snow like that, and you know what it is, and you be able to pull it out of the snow, and you just don't know how long those tines are till you start pulling it out. That is part of the big myth in the enjoyment of shed hunting. But it does a lot more. It's not just finding that white gold. So what we want to do tonight is touch base with 3 or 4 things. First of all, when you're shed hunting, the purpose in doing that, it tells you a lot of things. It tells you what bucks are going to be doing in the following year. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. You may have been up in a tree and hunting, or you got your game cameras on and you're seeing certain deer, certain size deer. You know that a boy's there, but you didn't kill him, or no one on the property killed the old boy. Well, you get out and you get to shed hunting and you find his set of antlers, his rack, then you know his sheds, you know at least that old boy made it through the season. Now what's interesting in that, you also can find out where on the property you found that. Now, that's not a guaranteed leadway by no stretch of the imagination that that's where that old boy is going to be the following season, but it does kind of give you an idea where they're winding up. You hear say this on the program a lot, and it's because there is a difference, a geographical difference in whitetail. It's not that a whitetail is it's the same deer. A whitetail is a whitetail is a whitetail. If he's in Manitoba, Canada, or if he's in South Alabama, he's still a whitetail. Ears, eyes, nose. But how you set up on them makes all the difference. Topography, what time of year it is. So when you're shed hunting, it's just good to get outside and get away from cabin fever and, get out of the house. Now, us down here in the South, we don't have that cabin fever much because we can pretty much get out anytime. We're not snowed in like you guys are up there. But it's not just getting out. It's also what you see gives you a read on the animals that you saw before, and it's a snapshot who made it through the season and where you found them out. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say that I live in Minnesota and Michigan, and I find a shed. Well, it's very common, as you guys know in the north, is to find that old boy on the south side of a ridge, and they yard up. You guys talk about deer yarding up. Well, that yarding up is very much a Midwest and Northeast phenomenon. The further south you come in the southeast, that's almost, it's not unheard of, but the temperatures just don't require that to happen. They're still browsing and doing and getting stuff. So they don't yard up together to where you're going to just find shed after shed in a certain area on the south side of one of those ridges where those deer yard up to get, to get out of the weather. So you will find that. So, but at least you'll get a snapshot of which old boy made it and which didn't. And what you'll also find, which is amazing, is that you'll find a buck's shed that you think, where in the world did he come from? You got cameras all over your property, and all of a sudden you got this moose sitting there, laying there on one side of him, and you think, man, I ain't never seen this rascal. What's he doing here? How was it that I didn't see him? Well, it puts another radar up for you to be looking now this coming season for that buck shed that you found. Another thing is, it's just fun to get out and find antlers, guys. It's just not a read of the property, but it's a way to be able to enjoy and have that excitement extended from deer season. Let's talk about the first couple things. First of all, each season, late hunting, when people shoot bucks, they, and again, we're talking Midwest, Northeast. Let's talk December, really, well, late season December. Anywhere in the Midwest, you can grab a deer mid-season December and grab him and start to haul him off, and you may break off an antler. And it may just come off in your hand. That doesn't happen. Season just ended in a couple weeks ago here in North Florida, in Pensacola, in the Florida area, right at the end of February, literally. In fact, today's, what is it, guys, March 12th? March 12th, I could go outside and you could have a roadkill, and I could reach down and grab that buck and literally drag him across the road and put him up in the truck. Now that's going to start changing pretty quickly here in the next few weeks. They'll be shedding. But up in the Midwest and the Northeast, even into season, if you grab a little boy, you can drop him off. So you guys have to be careful with that. And then even what you have to be careful of, and many of you that's watching this show tonight, and you guys call in and verify this, is that even in late season in the Midwest and Northeast, you have to be careful of what you shoot. Because some of you know that you'll be shot a doe and realize, to only walk up on him to realize that it's a buck that is shedded. So when you're putting a scope on a deer, or you're looking down the barrel, or you're bow hunting, you're looking for those two little dots, those red blood spots where those antlers have fallen off, and you see that red skin there. You got to look for that, just as the picture that you're seeing here on the screen now is clear where one side is falling off. And look, not always do they drop them both at the same time. One of the things that we showed last week was that this old boy had I don't think we showed that. We'll need to show this, is what I'm saying, which is a pretty neat trick. He's got a feeder, and what he did was he had them coming to it, and then when it got time for deer to start shedding, what he did was he closed the hole up a little bit to where when the deer had to go in, they had to kind of maneuver into it. And what happens is they'd catch the side of the horn and break off. And man, he had several different buck sheds in and around that feeder where they had to stick their heads in there. Very common in the Midwest and Northeast. Hey, it's a great inexpensive way to not have to trek through the snow, because that'll happen. But down home here, that won't do us any good. So what happens is these bucks, so you have to be careful when you're hunting in mid-December, in late season in the Midwest and Northeast, that you be careful what you shoot if you're shooting a doe, because it very well could be a buck that's already shed. Now, one of the things that we want to talk about is antler shedding. Why does it happen? When does it happen? And it's a process. This entire show is about hunting the Rut Hotline. And so, we stress it, the rut is pre-peak and post-rut. But though we are past post-rut, And now what are deer doing? Deer are already back in bachelor groups, and the bucks have begun to shed. And so why is that? At the beginning of the rut, bucks are in velvet, the testosterone is building, and so what happens is they're coming into rut. Thus pre-rut, peak of the rut, post-rut. Well, it's March 12th. So all over the country, with a rare exception of where we're sitting, and that's rapidly fixing to catch up with you guys everywhere else, bucks are going to be shed and have shed antlers all over the country. The reason for that is because they have, the testosterone level is dropping and it weakens the base and the antler starts dropping off. What's crazy about it is they do it only to start all over again. Hey, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to tell you why they do it and what happens immediately after it, and that's happening today where you live. We'll be right back after this commercial.
You've worked hard all summer to get everything just right. Don't leave the rest of it to use the finest deer urine ever collected and the only one in the market that is oxygen-free. From collection to bottle, get ready. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
Alrighty guys, we're back with Hunting the Rut Hotline. We're live, and folks, listen, we're going to try to, as we go through this thing, you'll notice that we'll be interrupted with a telephone call, and that's fine. That's what this show's all about. And so as calls come in, we'll take those, and we'll just keep coming back to what we're talking about on bucks with dropping the antlers. So guys, you just let us know when the calls come through. Well, there we are. All right, hang on just one second. Let's take this quick call, and we'll come back to what we were talking about. All right, you got Don Bell. How you doing?
Hi, Don. I'm doing well.
Who we got?
This is Don McRae up in Minnesota City, right? Real close to Winona, Minnesota.
Winona, Minnesota. Well, I love your first name. You starting off with a good thing. Hey, by the way, is your name Donald or Don?
It's Donald.
I know. Hey, listen, my name is Donald. When did you go to Don? How old were you?
I tell you.
Yeah, I know.
I was here the Donald Ducks thing for a lot of years.
I know, dog. I hear you. I hear your pain. Well, look, what kind of question you got?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not a 365-day-a-year deer hunter.
That's okay.
I'd like to be. If I had my own land, I would be.
Well, I can tell you, if you're 365, there's about 14 million deer hunters would love to have that season, but that'd be kind of bad. That'd be kind of illegal. But having said that, to understand, Don, what happens during the fall, we're doing that now. And so that's what this show's about. We're going to chronologically go through all the way each week up to where deer and what deer are doing where you live. And up there where you live up in Minnesota, you're dead smack in the middle of what we're talking about, you know. You bow hunt or gun hunt?
I gun hunt.
Have you, in late December, have you ever done that? Have you ever shot a buck and then reach and grab him and antler come off?
I'm always done in the first week or two of November.
You shot out and done, aren't you? Tell everybody what the limit is up there in Minnesota.
Well, right now, we can have a buck or a doe, but that buck has to have four points on one side be considered legal buck.
You know, what's crazy with that, Don, is, you know, when I first, in fact, we had a conversation with Tom here earlier, you know, how we got in the industry, how we grew up and stuff. And what's crazy about that, you know, we grew up here in Alabama, growing up just a few years ago, within the past 3 or 4 years, you could legally kill 146 deer a year per hunter. I mean, you know, it's crazy. And now they just changed that. A bunch of people haven't got that email yet, but now we're limited on what we can kill. and they're still, I think, a buck. I think it's a buck and 2 does a day. So the reason I'm saying that is because in the Midwest where you live, you really have to concentrate, because you kill 1 buck, you're going to let a lot of bucks go by. And so what happens is you really learn because you let them go by. Now down here in the Southeast, a lot of hunters have got way better at letting them walk, but because you could kill so many, you shoot them. But we also, how long is your deer season up there?
We only have 9 days.
Yeah, listen everybody, what Don just said, 9 days. We down here opens October the 15th, goes out of this in Alabama, just went out February the 15th. Now that's a lot of days in the woods. Now what a hunter does in the South or the Southeast is, because we have so many days in the woods, the guy down here spends and learns a lot of they spend more time in the woods. The northern hunter, such as yourself, you guys really dig in on why deer's doing and where he's at, because you're going to let the lesser ones walk, therefore to get a better deer, because you can only kill 1, maybe 2 bucks.
Yep,
so
that's right.
There's a lot of what we're doing and what's happening in the past 10, 15 years. The northern hunter, the wisdom of the northern hunter and the wisdomship of the southern hunter is coming together, and conservation all the way around. And again, that's what this show's about. So your question specifically tonight, tell me again what that question is.
Well, I haven't asked, but here's my question. I've been listening to you guys for a few weeks now talking about the new products for coming up
Yep.
for 2015. And I would like to know the best steps for me to take to keep myself odor-free with your new scent defense,
Yep.
I believe it's called.
Yes, sir. Well, your scent defense, well, first of all, right off the get-go, there's a couple things, and hey, we appreciate that. We're really excited about scent defense. And you will see right now, we have the 4 brands. You got Top Secret, Scent Defense, you got BioShield, and Fog Zero. And all these commercials are running now, and will run on the Outdoor Sportsman and Pursuit channel, and it's a mess load of them, Don. It's like 21,000 impressions. That's like 2.5 an hour, 7 days a week, all the way through season. And the reason we're doing that is because Scent Defense is doing something totally different. You know, there's a lot of scent products out there to kill human odor, right? And you currently do that, right?
Yep.
Okay. And you use XYZ's product, and there's several good products been out there. The problem with that is there's so many out there, it's just become just a hodgepodge of products. It's almost like a battle royal over, you know, they all basically do the same thing. Well, what we've done is that we've got the same 3 put-ups. We have a laundry detergent. We have it in a body wash and shampoo. And then we have it in the ready-to-use spray, which everybody's aware of. We got the same 3 put-ups that everybody else has, right? But what we have done is something totally different. For the first time in the industry, and it literally, and you'll see it in all your major chain stores out there across the country, your independent retailers, your catalog houses will have this. And if they don't, hey, like Fox News, demand it. You know, ask them to carry it. But here's the difference. Scent Defense, and this is a laundry detergent. Can you see your screen? If not,
Yes, I do.
you can? Okay.
Yep.
That product right there, that's called Scent Defense Laundry Detergent. What makes Scent Defense different all the way across all 3 products is we married, everybody knows silver is the underlining formulation for most odor stop products. Silver is a great process that kills bacteria that causes odor. Well, I don't know if you've watched the show, and in the absence of Steve, Steve and Mike, who Steve's brother, was here a couple weeks ago. They're both pharmacists, and actually they're 2 sisters, and both of those are pharmacists, and 2nd generation pharmaceutical research and development. So what you have is that background coming in. So what we did is, we know silver's good, so what we did is married copper with silver. And we found out that when you put copper with silver, it makes silver kind of mad. And it sort of like I use the analogy of a souped up wildcat, but what it does, it makes it way more aggressive in killing bacteria. Well, we had a better mousetrap, but just in that, we thought, well, you know, it's a better mousetrap. But then we got to thinking, what if we were to mix with our product, with copper with silver, a better killing property to kill the bacteria? Then we added what we call Neurex. Neurex is our formulation of an all-natural, DEET-free repellent, insect repellent. And what it does, it repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, bed bugs, black flies, down here where we are, no-see-ums, any kind of biting insect. And it does it DEET-free. You literally, Don, can put this on your hands and put it on your face. You can put it on your clothing. So for the first time in our market, we upped this 3-in-1. You've got the odor killing properties. Then we married Neurex to it. Then we formulated it as an attractant. By any chance, have you gotten any of this yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, you can actually get it online. In some stores, we're already shipping some to some stores early because they wanted it in the stores. But all this will hit the market in June, July for fall. But you certainly can go online and get this today. But when you get it, first thing you'll notice when you smell it, it's a very pleasant smell. But it's kind of a unique smell. And what you'll hear people do, and it's kind of funny because they go, wait a minute, I know what that is. I know, that smells, I know what that is. And you can almost detect what it is, but most people, it's not what they think it is. It's 100% natural, but deer love the smell of it. And what's crazy about it in the research, you know how a buck will come in to urine and he'll throw his head up and he'll flame, he'll curl that upper lip wanting to come into that urine-based urine? That's a sexual attractant. What they're doing when they come into scent defense is that they're coming in, sticking their tongue out, and they're licking over their nose like this. And what's crazy about it is that we knew we had the formulation, but when we put them all together, it doesn't matter what age deer. Literally, a fawn comes in, a spotted fawn will come into this the same way that a dominant buck will. They come in with their nose, their tongue stuck out, kind of raking over their nose. So scent defense is, we're a dog running off a track. It is a whole, we have elevated the category of odor stop products. First time ever, 3-in-1. Kill a better mousetrap in killing your odor, repels all kind of biting insects, and it also is an attractant in the same traditional 3 put-ups. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's neat. It is neat. Go ahead.
With the size of the mosquitoes we have in Minnesota, I can use this stuff in my backyard.
It's a state bird, isn't it? I mean, listen, this is, do you turkey hunt?
I used to, I don't anymore.
Okay, well, the reason I say that is we also have this available in what we call BioShield. Now, BioShield is the repellent. That's the brand of a repellent. This is what's, the formula here is called Neurex. That's the formula. The brand is called BioShield. 100% natural, DEET-free. What we did is we've got that in this. See what I'm saying? So we put our formulation of the insect repellent in it. Now the difference is, for the first time in the repellent industry, we did something totally different. Right now, if you were to go to your sporting goods store and tell them, and I have everybody go do this, go to your store and try to go tomorrow and find you an insect repellent. It's going to have DEET in it. It plainly tells you, do not put it on your skin or your clothing. This is called BioShield. The formulation is Neurex. It is 100% natural. You can put it on you, you can put it on your child. It will not harm you. And what it does, it shuts down the neurological system of an insect, and it shuts them down almost instantaneous. And so therefore, we then came out with the same stuff in a body wash. Got that backwards. In a body wash and shampoo. So you could go turkey hunting, fishing, just working in the yard. You can take a bath. You can wash your clothes. Mama can wash your clothes for all the children. You going hunting or fishing or just going to work because you work outdoors. Now then, you can repel the fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, everything, even just everyday life. It's called BioShield. Does that make sense?
Perfectly.
Well, listen.
And it's definitely on my shopping list.
Well, look, hey, tell your store, the stores that you buy at, whether it's an independent or a chain, and this stuff will be in Gander, it'll be in Dick's, it'll be in all these chains as well as your local independent dealer. If your independent dealer doesn't know where to get it, all they got to do is go to Top Secret Deer Scent, and we'll be glad to get them in contact with the right way to purchase it, whether it's through a distributor or direct with us. But listen.
I tell you, if here it's Mills Fleet Farm. I don't know if you deal with that.
Yep. I'm almost sure. You got Mills Fleet, then you got what's the other fleet and farm? You got them both up there. And I'm almost sure though that we have got Mills Fleet on for 15. But as you go into the store, say, hey guys, you gonna get this stuff that's being advertised? You need to get us. You need to get us some now because we're looking for it for this fall, and they'll be glad to get it for you. Tell all your friends to ask them for it, and that's the way you get stuff in stores. Is that we got consumers like you that want it, like it, use it. I guarantee you they'll get it for you.
That's great. I appreciate that.
Hey, I appreciate you calling in, Don. And listen, tell people about the show. Each week now, we're fixing to start next week. We're going to start tagging this show to all of our other commercials and stuff to where we can let all the country know each week more and more about the show that we're doing because it's all built around you. So we appreciate you calling in. Call in again. Tell your friends about it. And we're fixing to take another quick caller. Appreciate it, Don. Thank you for calling in. Stay warm up there. All right, man. Thank you. All right, guys. Let's see. Did you say we got another caller on? There he is. All right. We're going to get back to the antlers in just a minute. All right. You got Don Bell on the phone. Who we got?
Hi, this is Lance calling.
Big Lance. Where you from?
Oaks, North Dakota.
North Dakota.
Yep.
Cold up there, ain't it?
What's that?
I said it's cold up there, ain't it?
It's actually 63 degrees today.
Really? Doggone. Yep. Well, I don't know what was it, about 70-something today? Well, you almost as warm as we are down here. Boy, be careful up there in this change of weather. You'll get sick like Steve is, old Big Steve.
Right.
He fell a little under the weather. And he's a pharmacist, for heaven's sake. So he's got access to that medicine. So it'll get everybody. Well, look, Lance, we're glad you called in tonight. What kind of question you got?
I was wondering how often do you use your grunt call between grunt and bleat calls?
Are you bow hunting a gun?
Yep, I'm bow hunting.
Okay, you bow hunting. What time of year?
It'd be like early November.
Okay, so you're at the beginning. You're really into the beginning of the peak of the rut up there.
Yep.
So, and you're wanting to know grunting and how often do you do it? And sequences, okay. And the reason I qualified that time frame because you do kind of do some stuff a little different, and it's more productive for you at a certain time than it is other times. First of all, to tell you how to do that, do you use any kind of deer scent?
Yep, I use doe heat and stuff.
Okay, doe estrus. Now,
yep.
Lance, that's very common, and the reason I qualified that question, you're going to see why, is because, and if you notice, in order for me to give you an answer, I'm asking questions because it makes a big difference because, see, you said November, first part of November, you're the beginning of the peak of the rut up there. That's totally different than the southeast, right? So different, same product, same process, different time of the year, different results. So, all right, so let me answer the question. First of all, when you grunt that time of year, get you some buck earring. All right?
Okay.
And Lance, here's why. It's a simple why, too. Bucks have three defenses. A deer is a deer is a deer anywhere in North America. The only difference between a white-tailed deer in North Dakota and a white-tailed deer in South Alabama is topography. He's got 3 defenses: ears, eyes, nose. What's the most important?
Nose.
Yeah, all right, everybody knows that. All 14 million deer hunters, it's the nose. But, so when we get up and use a grunt, and you grunt, what you're doing, 9 out of 10 grunt calls, or 8 out of 10 grunt calls, no matter what they're made out of, or who makes them, or what color, they're a tending grunt, right?
Okay.
So when you grunt, in fact, I think I got a grunt call here. When you grunt, and this happens to be a down and dirty grunt call, and it's my grunt call, and it happens to be out of wood. Actually, it's out of a walnut, but it doesn't matter. Listen to the difference. That is a tending grunt. So when you grunt, what you're doing is, can you see the screen? Can you see the show live, or are you talking and seeing it later?
I'm going to see it later.
Okay, when you're talking, so here's the way you do it. You're sitting in a stand. I don't know if you're sitting or standing, but you're sitting. Let's say you're sitting and you're looking forward. The way you're looking is downwind. All right, so behind you, you grunt. You're up in your tree stand or in your blind, and you grunt. There's a buck behind you. At least you hope there's a buck somewhere. So when you grunt, what you just told any buck, young or old, you just told him another buck is tending a doe. Right?
Okay.
Whose doe? His doe. Because especially if you're grunting, and you could be in November, first part of November in North Dakota, you're hunting at the beginning of the peak of the rut there. Bucks have already made scrapes. They're working them scrapes. So when you grunt, and especially Lance, if you're on a scrape, then especially a primary scrape at that point, underneath an overhanging limb, and you grunt, that buck's going to go downwind. Grunting and rattling, in a nutshell, basically getting just common talk, puts a deer downwind. Because what you just told him was another buck is tending a doe. Whose doe? His doe. So grunting is an infringement. So what he's going to do now, Lance, he's going to go downwind. So I grunt. You're going to go downwind. The reason you're going downwind is you may see him and you may not. But the reason you're going downwind is he's wanting to smell what he's hearing. You can whip a deer's ears with a grunt call. You can whip a deer's ears by rattling.
Yeah.
His nose keeps his butt alive. So the reason he goes downwind is he's wanting to smell what he's hearing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now watch this. What scent did you say you use?
I'm not even sure what the brand is.
No. I don't need the brand, but you use estrus, right?
Yep, I use estrus.
All right. No, the number 1 scent sold in America is estrus. But watch how simple the mistake is. Are you married?
No.
All right. How old are you?
I'm 34.
All right, 34. Let's say you're married, and you come in tonight after the show, and you smell. You come in and you smell Old Spice cologne. You flip the light on. Who are you looking for?
Another man.
You're looking for another man. So what happens is, what you've done by using estrus, only estrus, and you grunted, and all the times you've been grunting there, that buck goes downwind. And the reason he's going downwind, he's wanting to check and confirm his ears with his nose. His nose is a check on his ears and eyes. So he goes downwind, and what he smells is an estrus, a doe, rather than a buck. That'd be like you coming home smelling Old Spice cologne, flipping the light on, and seeing your wife. You're not looking for your wife. You're looking for Old Spice. So what happens is you're confusing him, and because he's intent on, because grunting is an infringement, he's focused on that other buck there, and he can't do it. Kind of throws him off track. It won't do it every time, but it can do it a lot of times, especially on good mature bucks, because they didn't get old by being dumb. So quick answer to what you're doing: you grunt, use buck urine. You can use your estrus. You can use your estrus at the scrape, but always use buck urine when grunting and rattling. And a good answer to that is opening day of bow season. Open day of season, start using buck urine. You use buck urine every day of the year. Once he starts chasing does, then you add your estrus. And that grunting and rattling will confirm what he's smelling. Because see, he could be going downwind and you don't even see him. All you know is that, and I don't know, have you ever had a buck come in and lock up and not come in? You see him and you can't get him in?
Yeah, I've had that.
You bet. There you are. Now watch this. You put you some buck urine out there and do that. And watch him.
Okay.
I mean, he can't stand that now. He's heard and he's confirmed. You just got 2 of his 3 defenses whipped. And the most important is the confirmation is the nose. More times than not, he's going to come on in there then. Especially bow hunting, you got to get him in close.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've never even tried that stuff.
Yeah, listen, it's once we tell people like that, you go, hey, wait a minute, now that does make sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
And it's not complicated. Rule of thumb is you use buck urine every day you go in the woods. It's going to start good and it's going to get better because they're running in bachelor groups. The closer you get into the season, the more aggressive he can come to it. Give you a quick answer on something, and we're going to take a quick commercial break, is that you try this fall. You can, in fact, right now today, you can take buck urine and pour it out March 12th anywhere in America, and bucks will come to it.
Oh, okay.
Now, why is that? Because bucks are more concerned with bucks 12 months out of the year than they are with a doe. Guess when a buck is concerned with the doe? You got it. Peak of the rut.
Yeah.
When she's standing, when she's coming in, now all of a sudden he likes her. Outside of that, he spends more of his life with other bucks than he does with the does. So buck urine starts good, gets better as you go into the season. Hey, are you a first-time watcher of the show, or have you been watching the show?
I've been watching it here and there for a couple of years now.
Well, listen, tell everybody about it and tell your friends about it, and because each week this will grow. And we started the show off by talking about sheds, and we're going to get back to that in between these callers because that's real important. Because right now up there where you are, you can be getting you some sheds.
Yeah,
and
exactly. I've been finding some.
There you are, see, and that's the reason we're talking about it tonight, because that's the pastime up there right now. A little cabin fever, want to get out. Hey, ain't nothing like it, Lance. Go out there and see them tines sticking up through that snow, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's right. But it's telling you something because of where they are. You get to see which buck made it, and you pull them antlers out, and you think, my Lord, I never seen this one. Where'd he come from? So it starts kind of telling you something about the property and where you're hunting. So listen, we appreciate you calling in. Tell your friends about it and tell them to tune in each week. And we're going to do this every week all the way up into season again and all the way through season. So we appreciate you calling in, Lance. Tell your friends about it.
I'll tell them.
Hey, man, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Stay warm. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, bye.
You bet. Bye-bye. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get back into the antler sheds and go back between these callers. We'll be right back.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes Top Secret Reserve Doe Estrus, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top Secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 0.1% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 0.1% Club.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Hunting the Rut Hotline. I'm Don Bell. Hey, folks, you got questions, and we're going to have some answers tonight, and we're going to learn together. This show's not about me. It's not about Mr. Steve. It is about a conversation between us and you. The difference is Lance and I just visited. Everybody else got to hear that conversation and go, you know what? Dang, if that don't make sense. But old Lance is up in North Dakota, and if you notice, old Don McRae, he's over in Minnesota, what is it, Minnesota City? All right, anyway, up in Minnesota. Though those are not far apart, you will hear people from other parts of the country tonight. Well, first of all, hey, listen, we're in open enrollment. You see the bottles behind me. We're proud to have Top Secret as the sponsor of Hunting the Rut Hotline and the 1/10 of 1% Club. You're thinking, well, this is March the 12th. What in the world am I talking about deer urine for? Well, first of all, there's only 12,000 bottles of reserve. What this is in this bottle, you just saw the commercial. That is the best deer urine this industry has ever seen. This is from 3 and 4 year old single deer. This is in process urine. Folks, you can't say this don't work, because what we've done is we've literally pulled the bucks off of the does. She was in full estrus, which means an animal will stand. She literally stood. He was in the process of breeding. We collected the urine. This has never seen oxygen. Oxygen ammoniates deer urine. Dark urine says the deer was there. Clear yellow says he's there. This is 26 ounces. This is a flat, smooth $100 bill. And this is only for the hunter. First of all, there's only 12,000 bottles for 12 million deer hunters, thus the 1/10 of 1% Club. But folks, if you're serious about hunting, you want the best, this is it. Here's how you can get it. You got two choices tonight. We're in open enrollment, which means you can buy this tonight. You can pay for it one time and say, ship it to me, like old Lance up there in North Dakota. Lance could buy this tonight and say, ship it to me October or Halloween, and we'll ship it to him on Halloween. Or Lance could actually go and say, you know, I want this in November, or I want it in October, but I don't want to pay for it all at one time. We've got a 4-pay system. You can literally become a member tonight, pay for it over 4 payments, and the website will automatically do it for you, and it'll pay for it over 4 payments, and we'll ship it to you whatever day you want this coming fall. Hey, you get to be a club member, get to participate in new product development, you get to have webinars, you get to be guests on the show. If you'll notice, we have guests that are club members on the show. You get to be frequent guests. There's just all kind of perks that you get for being a club member. The most important, though, is that when Lance buys this bottle, let's say Lance buys this tonight, he becomes one of the 12,000 hunters in America out of 12 million that gets a bottle. Well, the thing about it is, he just joined the club, which means nobody can take this bottle away from Lance, so long as Lance each year will have open enrollment. And when you have open enrollment, that means Lance can rebuy for the following year. It's like buying season tickets at the University of Alabama or whatever school you like. So long as you get your season tickets, nobody can sit on that 50-yard line but you. You give that bottle up, somebody else, old Don McRae sitting up there in Minnesota, is going to get old Lance's bottle, and so Don will be sitting on the 50-yard line. So we've got 12,000 50-yard line tickets. And here it is, and you can join the club tonight. It's open enrollment, folks. After the show, during the show, there's a button right below me there. Hey, all you got to do is hit that button. It'll take you, and you can join tonight. Don't get caught without, because we only got 12,000. That means we got us a caller. I got you guys. I see what you're doing in there. All right, hang on one second. All right, you got Don Bell. Who we got?
Hey, this is Robert Petty.
Robert Petty. Now,
Sir.
All right, now, you know what I'm going to ask you. Are you any kin? Are you any kin?
Yes, sir.
Are you kin?
Pardon me?
Yeah, you kin to the Pettys? I guess you are kin to the Pettys, but you know, like Richard Petty?
He was Richard, but unfortunately he did not drive a race car.
I heard that. Well, yeah, I mean, that's close, ain't it? I mean, you know, Bale, but I'm not kin to Alexander, you know what I mean?
You didn't invent telephone, huh?
No. No, actually, no. Well, look, we're glad you called in. You're up here in Winchester, Tennessee. What part of Tennessee is that?
That is
East, south, middle?
Kind of southeastern part.
All right.
Between Nashville and Chattanooga.
Okay, yeah, man. You up around...
Kind of close to the border of Alabama.
Is it Smyrna?
Yeah, I'm about 45 minutes from Smyrna.
Okay, yeah, I know where you are. All right, what kind of question you got tonight?
Well, we have the funniest rut down here in this part of the country. We have a very wide population of does, and a lot of guys are, you know, there's a lot of hunting clubs here.
Yep.
And there's a lot of mindset that they don't want to kill their does.
Yep.
because they're afraid the bucks ain't going to come around. So that leaves us with a very large population of does.
Right.
So
your buck-doe ratio is out of balance.
It seems like our rut starts in late October, and it kind of just trickles all the way through the rest of the year.
Right. Well,
and it's just hard to hunt.
Yeah, it's hard to nail it down, is what you're saying. It's not always consistent. Let me remind everybody of something. If you'll notice, the first two callers, of course, Robert, you're listening in, so as we were talking, you know, we had a guy from Minnesota and we had a guy from North Dakota. Of course, now, and I'm assuming here, when you say rut, you're talking about the peak of the rut.
Yeah, the peak of the rut.
Right. And so I always qualify that, thus the name of the show, Hunting the Rut Hotline, because the rut is anywhere in America, a buck's in rut from the time he sheds velvet to the time he drops his antlers.
Yeah.
All right, so in Tennessee, when season comes in, he's in rut. Now, what you're talking about is the peak of the rut. And you have a couple of things, nuances there, is you're right. If we were to get a live conversation, you know, that's something to think about. Could we ever get I'm talking to Tom, the producer. Tom, could we ever get a conference call together? He said, yeah, you know, that'd be an interesting conversation. We ought to do that. Hey, Robert, can you still hear? What we ought to do is to get you back on the show, and we'll get the other two callers, and we'll have a conversation about this live, because it's interesting, and people need to note this. Your question is absolutely 100% valid, and you said something that's important. The peak of the rut in Tennessee is not pronounced. It's kind of on and it's off. It's kind of on and it's off. They don't get that so much in the Midwest and Northeast, and the reason for it is within a 7 to a 10-day window, the peak of the rut happens and it's over with. You know, I'll give you an example. Just today, we confirmed that we're going back to Illinois the week, I think we go in on the 2nd, and we go in on the 1st, and we leave out on the 7th. Now, why would we do that? Because historically, and anybody in the Midwest is listening, you know why we're doing that. Because of the peak of the rut, it is very historically pronounced. From somewhere from the 3rd to the 10th, it's going to happen in those 2 weeks. And so, very short window. The further south it becomes elongated. And then you throw in your problem, which is the buck-doe ratio is out of kilter, then it really screws things up. Are you in a hunting club?
No, I can't afford a hunting club.
I
hunt strictly, mostly, probably 99% of my land I hunt's public land.
Hey, listen, man, ain't nothing wrong with that. And we got a lot of that down here. We got hundreds of thousands of acres down here in Alabama that you can hunt public. And, you know, look, deer doesn't know if it's private or public. You know, they're living and they're eating. Now, the difference is the management between the two. But if the buck-doe ratio is out, what you won't have near the aggression of the bucks with the does. You know, your chase, just the activity won't be as pronounced and as intense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You go to the Midwest, you go to Illinois or Michigan or in North Dakota, but certainly Minnesota and Illinois, Michigan, all through there, it's going to be very pronounced, and a lot of that has to do with weather. It happens quickly, and then they move on. Now, you're in Tennessee. How many deer can you kill a year in Tennessee?
How many can we kill?
Yeah, what's your limit legally?
Well, starting from our bow season opens the 4th Saturday in September, and from that time on, we can kill 3 in my county and in surrounding counties here. Of course, our state is divided up into 3 sections, or 4 sections, and they got so many counties in each section.
3 zones.
And in our county alone, we can kill 3 does a day.
Yeah. How many bucks a year?
Now, we're only allowed to kill 3 bucks a season.
Yeah.
And 1 buck a day. but
Right.
we can't. Yeah, we can't go. We can't.
Yeah, so you see, in actual reality, we can only kill 2 does, so you're actually ahead of Alabama even with 3 does a day.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it used to be, like if you was hearing me a few minutes ago, just up to 4 or 5 years ago, we could kill 146 deer a year.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, just to say that, to show you how crazy that is, we actually have a spear season in Alabama. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
We got a spear season.
You better call Tim Wells.
I ain't never heard anybody in Alabama killing a deer with a spear. Heck, it's hard enough to kill a sucker with a gun, let alone a bow. But you're right. The rut where you are, because of those factors, and there is political, you can go in the zone that you live in, or the county I live in, down where we live, where you live, there's clubs, there's public land, and there's management. And some guys like to kill the doe, some don't, some like to leave the spikes, there are all these variations. And the end result is the quality of deer, not only the quality of deer, but how aggressive the deer that you see doing. Running, the amount of scrapes, the amount of rubs that you have, all that is linked to buck-doe ratio. So you're blessed to where you live, to where you can legally kill, 3 does a day and 3 bucks because you got deer. The problem with that is just understanding why that's that way. But are you hunting? You bow hunt, right?
Yeah, I bow hunt, muzzleloader, and rifle hunt.
Do you hunt scrapes, rubs?
Well, of course, of all our scrapes, scrapes are mostly hit at night. I get out, I try to find the rubs and scrapes, get the general idea, if there's a buck in the area.
Yep. Well, let me tell you, you're going to have rubs wherever you found rubs last year. If you found rubs this year, you're going to find rubs there next year. Now, if old Steve was here and he was the big buck and you shot Steve, don't leave, because now Tom's going to come in. But the only reason Tom's not coming in, Steve's kicking his butt. But in the absence of Steve kicking his butt, Tom's coming in. Well, if it's a good, location. It's true in real estate, it's true in hunting a whitetail. They're going to do the same place each year. Now, having said that, there's a way to enhance that, and that's what we're talking about in this show. Give you an example, and we'll close out with you on this. Have you been shed hunting this year?
Not yet. I'm not really sure when they drop. Everybody says they've probably started now.
That's right.
Usually it's in March and April, they say.
Right, bingo. And hey, let's see who. We talked to Don up there in North Dakota, and we also talked to Lance in Minnesota. Listen to what you just said, was that where you are, where Robert is, he's like me. They're just now starting to drop. So even once we get out and start looking down here in the southeast, everything's already greened up. First of all, it's always thick. We don't get the snow. They don't yard up down here in Tennessee, do they?
No.
No, man. When we find one, we're just tickled to death. I mean, we could starve to death going looking for a shed, couldn't we? I mean, it's a rare thing just to go find you a shed, let alone a good shed. Not so in the Midwest, because they started dropping them at the end of December. They're just now starting to do that in the southeast good. And but it does tell you where you find them and whether or not you have seen that deer during the season, which tells you he made it through the year, so you got another shot at him next year. Or you may find a shed that you didn't realize was there, and you think, dang, I didn't know that a boy was in there. And he could have just been passing through and stayed, but yet you know what's there. And so that says something about your property and what you can be thinking about the coming year. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, tell your friends about the show. Is this your first time calling in or first time watching the show?
Yes, sir. First time.
Well, how'd you find out about it?
I found out about you on Facebook.
There you are. Well, dog, we appreciate it. Tell your friends about it. We do this, Robert, every Thursday night. We're the only show like this in the country where, and if you notice, it's a straightforward shot. It's a conversation between you and me. The only thing is, we got the rest of the country listening in on it, and they benefit from our conversation because they're going, you know, I got that same problem. Oh, I didn't realize the guy in Tennessee, he can't find sheds now because, you mean they're just now dropping them? But yet they've been dropping them in December up there. And so people start realizing, because there's more to hunting that whitetail just during season. Deer don't vanish and go to the moon because season's out. That's the reason we got this show every Thursday night, because we're telling you what they're doing where you live today. So follow us each week and call in. Feel free to call in anytime you want to. Facebook in. Tell all your friends about the show.
Sure will.
Hey, get you some Top Secret, man. Hey, join the club. There's only 12,000 bottles of that big bottle.
I've been I was going to try that this year. I've tried just about every other kind of lure.
Well, Top Secret's oxygen free now.
Yeah.
Every bottle's from
I'm planning on maybe trying to get me some of that.
Well, look, you can get you a big bottle, be a club member. You can go to your local sporting goods store, and we have it in a 3-ounce bottle. I don't know if you can see it. You'll be able to see it after the show. We got it in a 3-ounce bottle. Retails $14.95. Comes to $5 an ounce. First time it sees oxygen is when you open it. So, hey, tell your friends about the show. Call us back.
I sure will.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for calling in. Tell your friends.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Robert. All righty, folks. Look, we got 3 different states there, 3 different callers, and notice what they're asking. And notice the difference, and that's the reason. Tom, we got time. Where are we at? We're going back to, I can go back a little bit on this. Let me, because boy, time gets away from us quick as we're talking about this stuff in here, is that let me finish the show out. Can I just go ahead and finish the show where we hear Tom, to where we can get this segment in? And we encourage you to call in, and we want you to call in. But I want to finish the show tonight with what we're saying here, because it's important. Bucks shed their antlers for a reason. They grow them for a reason. But right now, as you just heard the caller and Robert in Tennessee, bucks are just now starting to drop antlers good. And the reason for it is, whether it's in Tennessee now or if it started in North Dakota and Minnesota from the other 2 callers earlier, that started late December up there. And the reason for it in both cases is the testosterone level is starting to drop. And when it does, it weakens the base of the antler. I mean, we can get real scientific with it, but for right now, it weakens the base of the antler and the antlers, the joint that holds it, and the antler falls off. Now, as soon as it falls off, you'll see 2 little red dots sitting up there. I think you got a picture up there, and look, that one that you're seeing on screen, that's just one side. It looks like he's just got a blood spot there. Almost instantly, that will form a cover over it to protect it from not getting infected, and immediately that process starts all over again. An antler is different than a horn. A horn is like a cow. A cow grows from the bottom up. In other words, from the base, like a volcano pushing up, it just keeps coming up out of the base, up. An antler, as it comes from the base, it grows from the tip. The growth is from the tip. The base may get bigger, but the growth is from the tip, not from the base upward, which means that a buck that's in velvet can grow as much as an inch of height and length a day. Pretty fascinating. If they got the nutrition and they're not injured, they can grow up to an inch a day, which is phenomenal in growth. And an antler is the only thing that does that. A horn does not. Now, what's important about this, right now, March 12th, all over the country, is here in the southeast, as they're just now dropping them. Bucks are dropping those antlers. Now, what's happening, they will start the process of growing those horns back. And the reason what triggers the dropping of an antler is not just because the testosterone level is dropping, but it also may be because the buck is weak. Nutrition, or let's say he's a big buck, even a big dominant buck, and he's had a full-on, wide-open rut, and he's run his body ragged, and they will. You know that. They don't focus on food, they focus on those does and hitting just as many as they can catch. So his system's run down. He may be injured. Somebody might have shot him. He might have got hurt some way, and in the process has weakened his nutrition system, and his body's weak, therefore triggers early. And so there's several things along that, but the number one thing is the drop in the testosterone level, which means it's going to weaken that connection and it's going to break off. So that happens during the Midwest in mid-December, and it's mostly done, not always, but majority done by the end of February. Just now starting down here late February into March, and by the end of March it's in full swing, and then April, May, they're starting that process of growing all over again. So all over the country we're in that process of dropping off. You're looking, read the sign, see what is happening. It's not getting you out just cabin fever. You're literally being able to see not only the excitement of finding that shed, but it also tells you something about your property, which is the reason you're out there. You're now scouting for 2015 season openings in your season. So folks, listen to what we're telling you. Think about it. We're deer hunting. You are prepping to go deer hunting March 12th tonight for fall 2015, and we're going to do this each week, and we're going to tell you what bucks are doing. And hey, Tom, we'll get you guys that listen tonight, we'll get you back together in a conference call, and we'll get everybody in, and that'll be a great thing, and you can really kind of see live what these different people are saying from around the country. Folks, listen, my name is Don Bell. This is Hunting the Rut Hotline, and we look forward to talking to you next week, each week, 7 o'clock Central Time, right here. We'll see you next week.